Hey, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. It's been a while, and
Like
fair's fair.
Stained.
Does anyone even remember that song anymore?
I do.
Yeah, but does anyone who has from a relevant generation, remember that song?
We're from a relevant generation.
We're slowly being phased out, thank fuck. Um. So yeah, Jen. This was your pick, so I'll let you tell the folks what we watched and how we watched it.
Well, I wanted to do a coming. We've never done a coming of age story on the channel before, and I thought, what better coming of age story than Julie Darling? God, I love this movie, and it's a movie. No kidding, guys. This is a movie you don't hear many people talk about. Now, one, it's from 1983, but I still feel like this should be thrown around with things such as Stand By Me and The Karate Kid. If you're recommending coming of age stories, I think it would go with those kinds of films. And
I
it's from a girl's perspective, a daddy's girl.
You're a bit too much of a daddy's girl, if you ask me.
Can I call you Daddy, Marty?
Jesus Christ. Um. So yeah, this isn't a trash fire.
No,
From the offset, I wouldn't say it's a trash fire. It's not fucking Dressed to Kill,
but it
but
sort of is. It's in the same neighborhood. If it's not Dressed to Kill, it's in the sort of neighborhood.
it's it's definitely something, as Jen pointed out accurately. There is the DNA of Jallo in
Yes,
this,
very much so.
and there's also kind of the DNA of real Gonzo kind of exploitation flicks of the 70s, the remnants of that found their way into the 80s.
What it
Yeah,
also
it's
has, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Marty, but what it also has remnants of is this movie is a movie I would describe is shallowly deep. It's very shallow on the surface, but there are a few things, and with some characters, particularly one of our characters, and it's not the character you might think I'm going to talk about, that actually it does show a little bit more insight, and you can take in a modern context. It's very interesting to analyze this film. Sometimes it's fun to find these kind of films like from a well, the 80s weren't that long to me, but I guess they are now. And it's kind of fun to look at them through a modern lens. And this is a film that definitely is an interesting one to watch through a modern lens, even with all the other shit that's going on. It's an interesting movie on its own, although I know you had a few problems.
I think it suffered from pacing issues, and later on, in an effort to build up tension, the electricity is turned off in the house, and it's not AVPR levels of bad, but it's kind of hard to make out what the fuck is going on. Like there's built-in tension, and then there's like making the audience go, "I can't see a fucking thing," and it teeters on that. Again, it's not AVPR levels of bad.
It was a low budget movie from 1983. I can give it a little bit more grace, but I will acknowledge that, yeah, it is a little bit hard to see in some shots, but I think that was intentional.
Oh yeah, it was. It's just I think I don't know. I think we're spoiled for like being able to fucking see what's going on in the movie now.
I
Yeah.
get that. But this is again, this movie kind of has that charm because you're kind of going back to a different time. And this is what weirdly, like I said, hardly anybody I didn't know about this film. I saw it on a list, and that's how I usually find my undiscovered gems is like I'll see it on a list, I'll be like, oh, that kind of, and the title just intrigued me. Julie Darling, and the cover is of this little girl with a shotgun. And when I saw that cover, I'm like, are we gonna do hillbilly people? But no, we're in upper middle class suburbia is where this movie is set. And the movie starts out really weird. I mean, we kind of start off bonkers, and the movie just kind of keeps giving us bonkers. Plus, we have Sybil Downing, our werewolf queen, in this film as well. And you do get to see her boobs, and might I say they are a nice rack.
The weird thing is, Danny, this is before she obviously got a lot of work done,
She didn't
and
really need to, did
but
she?
yeah, she didn't. She was gorgeous looking in this movie, and it's like what the fuck? Why did you fuck this up? Because there was a softness to her face, and like I could believe this Sybil Danning could be like the fucking the mother of a child, whereas like, hey, DMC.
Hey, DMC.
DMC says he says I knew who picked the film as soon as I saw the title. But
It
yeah,
was Marty.
fuck off. No. All joking aside, this is a good pick. It's an interesting pick. But yeah, Sybil Danning looked. You could she didn't look as more kind of vampy in her later roles. I don't know. That's just me.
No, she has a classiness to her, and as you pointed out, and I don't feel that even if people who haven't seen the film, I don't think this is a spoiler. To different degrees, but every character in this movie's kind of horrible, except for Sybil Downing's little boy and maybe Julie's friend. Those are like the only two innocents in this movie, to different shades of degrees. Everybody in this film is horrible.
Yeah, they're he like fucking Sybil Danning does some shit, and Julie's father does some shit, and Julie's mother. Yeah.
Julie's mother, but it's interesting. But one of the things I will say, this is a good jumping off point, is because we kind of start off with the focus with Julie and her mother, and I like that they paint Julie's mother as kind of a bitch, but not in like an evil movie kind of bitch, like a believable, like we've all known people who've had mothers like this who aren't like monsters by any means, but you think, I'm glad they're not my mother, but it's believable, and there's some realism, and I kind of like that. For over the top as this movie goes, I like that it also is somewhat grounded, considering some of the subject matters we land on. I also think it's very grounded in some ways.
Yeah, like as Jen says, the mother isn't some maniacal kind of Cinderella-esque kind of stepmother, and neither is Sybil Danning.
She's not a stepmother, Marty.
No. I know that. But what I'm trying to get across the point is, she isn't some pantomime kind of mother or stepmother. Julie's a brat. She lets her snake kind of go around scaring everyone. So not like Jamie Lee Curtis in Mother's Boys.
No, not yet. You're kind of on the right track, but it's not the mother. The mother's just kind of your garden variety bitch that knows her marriage is in trouble and thinks her daughter isn't what she wants, and she's not particularly close. And there is a scene where Julie is putting Nesquik into milk, and she puts in 3 big scoops, and her mother's like, 2, chocolate's not good for you, dear. You get the feeling that Julie was not the daughter she wanted. You get that kind of feeling from it too.
Julie's definitely a tomboy, and like again, it illustrates from the fucking jump that Julie is a daddy's girl.
Yes,
and she's spoiled by a daddy's girl, and she pushes the envelope, like when she like her mother scolds her for putting the Nesquik in the thing. She looks at her father. He's like, it's okay, work away. And it's like, oh my God, this child has got her dad wrapped around her pinky.
But I'm sure you've known women like that. That have. I didn't particularly have that kind of relationship with my dad, but I knew people who did and stuff, and that were daddy's girls. And I think you would probably, if you had a daughter, you would probably spoil her rotten. I have a feeling.
I don't know about that. I just fucking. Jesus
I don't mean what like you would do with this, and this father also seems to be more like you think he's a good guy, but then you kind of find out some stuff as the movie goes along, and it makes him like 1 second. Sorry about this.
No bother. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I know the dad is kind of the dad is basically fucking playing around. And I think the mother thinks that taking Julie out of the equation is what's going to fix the relationship, but it's not the case. Oh, sorry,
Not, oh, I'm sorry. Julie is not the problem. I mean, at
No,
least in their marital troubles. I mean, she is, but she's really not.
like the mother's oblivious, and she's like, "Oh, it's Julie. That's obviously the fucking Julie. We can be a family. We can be together again." It's like,
But that's what I mean with this movie being weirdly deep, because you sometimes, you maybe the mother subconsciously kind of does suspect that there's something going on that isn't Julie's fault, but it's easier to blame the kid. The
yeah.
kid's got to be. I've known parents who do that too, and it's not the kid's fault. So you can kind of almost understand. This movie is, again, very smart. It establishes, it gives Julie a little bit of leeway, and like, yeah, her mother is kind of a bitch, not abusive or anything, but a bitch, and you can kind of have a little sympathy for her. But you are weirdly creeped out by how close she is, and the movie establishes very quickly how much of a daddy's girl she is, and the movie only goes further into that concept as we get into the middle of the movie.
I was on Julie's side even after a particular incident. But then, like, I was like, and then, like, the bit with the fridge, I was like, but I think what happened with her friend, the way she set that up, I'm not going to go too much into it.
I get that. I was reading DMC's comment. Next film review, if not Butt Boy, then
No, in fairness, in full disclosure, DMC asked us ages ago to do Butt Boy, and we owe him a request review, so we will get to that at some stage.
We will. It's just, life's been a little crazy.
Mhm.
This movie also, I mean, it's not meaning to be. It plays it very serious and very grounded. But if you go in, this movie is a movie you can have fun with if you don't take it seriously. Like, some of the things that happen in this movie are objectively funny.
Not what happens to Mother, not what happens to
Yeah.
First Mother.
Well, actually, yeah, because, okay, so let's set this up. And to explain this movie to you guys, we literally get an up close shot of a snake, which I'm terrified of, and that's Julie's pet. And the mother is terrified of this snake. Now, the snake wouldn't hurt her, but the mother and as being someone who has a fear of snakes, I totally understand that from the mother. But I told Marty, but the father gave Julie the snake, and I'm like, that's kind of a dick move if you knew your wife was terrified of snakes to give your daughter a pet snake. I mean, that kind of already shows a red flag for the father.
The other thing is, it's kind of sucky as well, because you don't know what he done with it, but it's the Canadian countryside, and that's a tropical snake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see usually Julie using the heat lamp, but go on.
Yeah, and later on we find out that the mother gets rid of. Now, she might just be ignorant of it, but like, she has someone going and taking out the snake while Julie and her father are gone. And I mean, it's a dick move, but I would sort of understand like that. But they just release it out into the wild, and that snake is probably dead. A few days, and that snake's probably dead. And while I'm terrified of snakes, I was like, you could have at least had it somewhere where it would be okay, or given it to somebody who would have taken care of it.
Yeah.
But it's a dick move. But anyway, we get there, and then we just are establishing that Julie and their mother have a very toxic relationship. And then we have a scene, and again, it really establishes Julie has a friend, and her friend's like, oh, the boy in class, I'd give anything if he liked me. And Julie, you can just see her kind of rolling her eyes and stuff, and wanting to get the friend away, and says, I'll feed my snake. You want to watch? And then she's like, you'd rather go hunting with your dad than going and seeing this cute boy. Again, establishing their relationship, right?
Yeah, it's like they pepper it through until then they fucking, it's like, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, here's a little, let kick in the face. Like, it's
Julie tells her dad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Julie tells her dad while they're hunting, I don't ever want to get married. I just want to be with you, Dad. And then when they come home from the fucking trip, and he's tucking her into bed, and she's like 14 and stuff, and it's like a little bit uncomfortable. She goes, now we're just going to the cabin, just you and me. It almost sounds like, if you didn't know any better, they were a fucking couple, because she's like, it's just you and me going to the cabin by ourselves.
it is kind of weird as well, like that the father is a medical professional. Okay,
A
I know.
doctor, a
Yeah,
surgeon.
I know this is 1983, and maybe the medical world wasn't too kind of like, fucking in depth in psychosexual kind of fucking incestual fucking medicine or psychosis, but like maybe the dad, who is again a medical professional, should go, yeah, this is kind of unhealthy. This is a tad unhealthy. Um, it also puts forward, along with the snake earlier on as well. Julie's mother wants to send her to boarding school,
I was just going to
so
hit on that point. And Julie is pissed. And the dad, again, again, this movie is shallowly deep, because when Julie talks to her dad about it, the dad is non-committal, which, if you're a parent, you guys have got to be on the same page. And he goes, oh, there's plenty of time, and you might not even be in boarding school. Now, we find out something about the father, that why his head might not be into his father rearing part of it. But it's interesting. Again, like I said, this movie, there's a lot of points where it's a shallowly deep, where it shows a very distracted father, and the mother's going, no, you are going to boarding school and you're going to become a nice young lady, and the dad's hemming and hawing, and of course that just makes Julie resent the mother, because from Julie's perspective, it's like it's this fucking bitch's fault. And then she wakes up and realizes her snake is out of the aquarium, and they're like, you got rid of my snake. And the mother, and I never know if the mother's bluffing Julie or if the father, but she goes, your father knows what I did. And I'm like, the father should have stepped in and done something about all this. He's like, okay, let her snake go while I take her hunting. But you don't know if the mother's bluffing her on that or if it's true.
Well, as you said, his head is somewhere else, probably
Literally.
up Sybil. Yeah, probably up Sybil Danning's ass. But like,
don't spoil it, darling, because that's a good reveal. And then we get to a part where I'm going to say, like, not what happens to the mother, but it is kind of funny. Julie and the mother are fighting over the snake, that, because she goes, I released it. And how she releases it is there is this teenage delivery boy.
That fucking teenager, that motherfucker's cracking on my fucking age, teenage, my whole.
And this is what I mean by where you can get some weird sense of humor by this, because that's how she gets rid of the snake, is he agrees to take it, but he's just delivering their groceries. And she's like, before she asked him to get rid of the snake, she's like, the other guy brought just regular Pepsi and I only drink Diet Pepsi. And he's like, well, ma'am, it doesn't look like you need Diet Pepsi. And she's like, that's how I keep my figure. And she is sort of cock teasing him. I mean, she's not being an out and out slut. I'm not saying
No. There's definitely some peacocking there. There's definitely some peacocking. Like, yeah. I know 70s, late 70s, early 80s. She's wearing a sheer top with no bra, and like she's answering the door to the stranger. Lady, just be careful, okay? Hey, Cara from Retro Horrors is in the chat.
Hey, Cara. And she goes, you want to come up? And she goes, I have a job for you. And I mean, it just plays out like something in a porno model. Because he's like, it's up in my daughter's bedroom. And there's a scene when they go up to the bedroom before he realizes, because she still hasn't told him what the job is. He's kind of like, it flashes on his face. And it's like he's thinking, oh, this bitch is kinky. She wants to do it in her daughter's bed. That's kind of kinky.
She's lucky she didn't go out straight out and go, hey, I have some trouble handling snakes. His mind would have been fucking blown. His mind would have fucking pop.
But did you see the look on his face? Because he looks at the daughter's bed, and I swear to God, I thought he was thinking, ooh, she's kinky. She wants to do it in her, because kids want to do it in their parents' bed, so maybe parents want to do it in their kids' bed.
Jesus. The fuck, DMC? What the fuck do you mean by that? Oh, Jesus. Right, moving on.
But you get it, like before the other, because it's kind of funny.
It is because the dude thinks he's going to get some fucking tail, and he puts out the snake, and
Literally.
yeah, he does. But then he comes back after she has a fight with Julie,
Mhm.
and Julie basically storms up to her room after realizing her mother kind of just, I'm going to just say, threw out her snake, and
Mhm.
puts on her headphones and is listening to her hi-fi system.
And
And
it's
then
classical music that she's listening to.
yeah, it's this soundtrack is fucking weird. It's a weird fucking soundtrack, but we'll get to that. So fucking the teenage bag boy comes back.
I mean, he's kind of cute if he wasn't an attempted rapist.
Oh,
The rapist thing kind of takes some of the cute factor away. But, I mean, he would be fine if he wasn't an attempted rapist. Yeah, so, like, and
what
she,
would
and,
you prefer if he was a successful rapist?
well, you know me, Marty, I never do anything in half measures.
For fuck's sake. Ay, Jesus, go on.
So anyway, so the teenage bag boy comes back and she's like, "Oh, I'll make you a drink." And he thinks that she is making a pass at him and he attempts to kiss her. And to the mother's credit, and again, this is where I say if the movie was a little in lesser hands, she might be for it, but she was just, maybe she was being a little flirty, but she wasn't being an out and out slut. And she tells him no, and he gets pissed and attempts to rape her, and she's yelling, and the Julie's mother is yelling for Julie and stuff. And Julie eventually hears it through her mother screams through her headphones,
Headphones.
and she gets the gun. But then she kind of stops, and I like the way this film's shot because you can almost see the thoughts whirling in Julie's brain, and like, this bitch threw out my snake, and she also is going to send me to boarding school. Yeah, she's my mom, and she's about to get sexually assaulted, but maybe this is what it's called, karma, Mom. Maybe if you wouldn't have done this, maybe you
Like,
wouldn't get this.
there's a scene where they're struggling, and Julie is going to take the shot, and
Mm-hmm.
it's establishes earlier on that Julie's a fucking crack shot with that rifle, so she
Yeah.
can kill that guy without hurting her mother. But as you said, she's like, huh, fuck us, and let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Um, do 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 you think she wanted her mother to get killed though?
Yeah, because you can see the way I've and this is just my own interpretation, Marty, and I could be dead wrong, but you can see the whirling and twirling in her brain, and she's like, "Well, Daddy said I might not even have to go to boarding school. It's this bitch." And then she gave away my snake, and she's always telling me not to put in 3 things of chocolate milk. That fucking bitch, and then I can have Daddy all to myself. You know what? You deserve this, Mom. That's what the inner dialogue is in my head, at least.
It is, and the scene isn't. Joe, I gotta give props because earlier on it showed Julie's mother having a shower, and you
A
got
nice scene, like as a dude, Marty. I mean, she didn't have any breasts to sneeze at either, and she was all soapy and sudsy.
yeah. The thing is, like, it was a titillating scene, but the rape scene is done. The rape scene isn't sleazy, or it doesn't like
No,
her breasts aren't flopping out or anything like that.
no.
It's harrowing to a point, like, you know.
It is, and she's screaming, and you can hear it. And the actress does a good job of projecting the terrified and fear. And she's screaming for her daughter to help, or for someone to help her. And I also like our teenage bag boy because he's throwing her around like a rag doll. And another thing I like about this, again, in a lesser movie, is he doesn't exactly. It's an act. I mean, okay, I give it a praise and call bullshit at the same time. It's an accident how Julie's
Yeah,
mother dies, right? And I like the look on his face when he realizes she's dead, like, oh fuck, like I didn't mean to do that, right?
yeah,
But on the other hand, like she just hits her head on the thing, and I think in real life we kind of, I mean, maybe I don't know, the way that her head hits it, I would think it would need a lot more force to be dead. Maybe it would knock her out, but to be dead, it was a little questionable. But considering
yeah,
where this movie's gonna go, let's just leave it
yeah.
at that.
It's actually the. Jane, have you ever referred to someone's parts as that?
Yeah, when I
Wangly
was
danglies?
younger. Yeah.
Wankly. I never heard that. Must be an American thing.
But I do like how he kind of looks at her like, Jesus Christ, like I didn't mean for that to happen. And then Julie's like, you know what? Yay! Hi,
Hey, Larry.
Larry.
And
Yeah, there's probably a reason why you've never heard of this film.
I'm shocked he hasn't. This is a Canadian production. If anyone should have heard this, it's a Canadian-German production.
But you're right. The rape scene is it's handled without any comedic bits or any comedy. It's taken very seriously, and it's a harrowing scene. And again, this is establishing is, and because we go in later with this, surprisingly, we have a lot more with our teenage bag boy later on in the movie, and it shows that he does have some trouble with women, and he seems to really hate women. You know what I mean? Because there's some scenes later on that really establish this, but even here, we kind of are getting some glimpses of it.
Yeah, it's the dude's like an incel before incels were a thing.
Pancake breast.
What?
Oh, Larry, I've also heard pancake breast. Like, the thing about this, Larry, is there's four sets of breast in this movie, and they're all fucking top notch. They're both pairs of breast are top notch. They're voluptuous. I was looking, I don't know if it was Sybil Downing's or Julie's mother, but I was thinking, God, why aren't mine fuller like that?
Greatest Canadian production. Hear me out. The Final Sacrifice.
Yeah, that's actually a good movie. That's actually a really good movie. I like that movie.
Neither have I. Sounds like a weirdo movie.
And we haven't even touched on the weirdo movie part yet.
No, I think she's talking about pancake breasts. I don't know. That's not a movie, is it?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'd love there to be one. Marty, what did you think? Did you think do you think that would be believable that a 14, even though she's super pissed at her mom and her mom threatened boarding school and gave away her snake and is just a general bitch, do you think a kid that young could probably kill their mother? Probably. It's happened.
I think for the time, maybe this movie was kind of a bit ahead of its time because this is before The Good Son and this is before fucking The Orphan and stuff, which I think The Orphan might have taken a couple of beats. No, the movie you guys are talking about. Yeah, I like. What do you reckon? Do you think it took The Orphan and Good Son and stuff might have taken influence from this?
I hope so. The only thing with this was particularly with The Good Son, they definitely miled it down, but I can see some influences on this one. But I prefer this one because, again, as you say, this movie gets really exploitative, and not just in the way that you guys have probably already guessed. And when I first saw this movie, now Marty, I think, saw everything coming except maybe for our ending. I don't know if you knew.
No, I didn't see the ending coming.
But you saw pretty much everything else that was coming, and this was your first time watch. I was surprised by a few things, but then again, this was a movie I was enjoying, and when I'm enjoying a movie, I try not to jump ahead. I'm just like kind of letting it take me wherever it's going to take me, and this was one of those movies for me.
Oh, Kara says sorry, I'm skipping the comments here. I just I'll highlight some of the comments there as well. No, yeah, Kara meant the movie we're talking about is a weirdo movie. Mm-hmm. It's a good weirdo movie, though. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else? Good Son is possible. And Kara says, yeah, The Good Son is based on actual events.
I did not know that. I figured it was just a gender-swapped bad seed is what I kind of thought The Good Son was. I didn't know that.
So, one thing I will kind of that knocks the father down a couple of moral pegs as well as his infidelity. How quickly does he shack up with Sybil Dan? Like, does it give a span of time?
It doesn't, but it must be quick because the movie doesn't establish how much time, but what it does do is Sybil Downing goes, shouldn't we wait? And he's like, we've waited long enough. Julie needs a father, and Sybil Downing has a little boy, and like the kids need a father. Her son needs a father, Julie needs a mother. So he thinks that this was just a fortuitous little happenstance. Like, I'm sure he's sorry his wife was, sexually assaulted. assaulted, but it sure did make his life a lot easier, and it sure is a lot less expensive than a burial is a lot less expensive than a divorce.
Yeah, like it's like, wow, what are my chances? What is the luck? What is the luck of this happening? Um, like it's oh one
No, go ahead.
no, it's just he doesn't seem that beaten up about it. I know that things weren't, it wasn't fucking paradise. There was trouble in paradise, but he didn't seem as distraught as he could have been about his wife's death.
This is an interesting question though, and I pose to all, because men and women, we're supposed to be, I don't know how true this is, but women are supposed to be the more emotional creatures, y'all are supposed to be the logical ones. Like when a relationship is like, you might feel bad, but like, I mean if the relationship was just completely over and the movie gives it, like, remember before, there's a scene of him coming home after he takes Julie to the hunting thing, and she's kind of dressed up in a sexy lingerie kind of to entice him, and he just rolls over and goes to bed and doesn't even notice and stuff. I mean, when a relationship is over, like, you can feel bad, but wouldn't there also be a sense of relief? And like, he's a doctor, so I mean, and if his wife found out about the infidelity, I mean, you're going to get cleaned out. So like,
Yeah,
you feel
but but but
bad.
at the but at the same fucking time, he had a kid with this woman. Like, I'd be like, Jesus
But
Christ.
I mean, does that, like, I mean, can you? I know. Can you separate? Like, even if you have a kid with someone, if it's dead and gone, like, you can care about him and co-parent. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. It's just an interesting question.
I maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people
No,
can. I think it's like, maybe have a base show within, like, you know maybe have a scene where he starts feeling guilty about it, and then on you could see, I'm terrible for making scenes in movies to try and fix them up. I always do this. He's feeling bad about it, and then Julie's like, no, Dad, you have to move forward, and unknowns to Julie, this inspires him to decide, hey, I'm gonna actually start up a proper relationship with my mistress now.
that is but you know what this does do, right? And I'm glad you said this, because I don't think it would have ring a bell. Another thing, as soon as Julie and her dad come home from the police station and stuff, she takes on the wifely role. She takes his coat. She's like, Dad, can I get you a cup of coffee? We have this wonderful scene of her fixing her dad some coffee in the kitchen, and while she's making her Nesquik, and she puts that extra thing of powder into the milk where her mother would have told her no, and she just again, this movie is weirdly smart. She gets this big smile, and you just feel like, this is my domain. He's mine now. This is my
Yeah,
daddy,
I
and I
like this.
define any
I
bitch to take him away.
I like she has this big victory gulp, a
Yeah,
literal victory gulp of her Nesquik.
you lost, bitch. Fuck you, Mom. He's mine now. He's mine.
Um,
And he's going to take my virginity. And, guys are weird about that. And when it's your father, it's even a double indemnity. When your dad takes your virginity, they're like, it's a thing.
that's just what they call recycling. Uh, Jesus Christ. Anywho,
But
uh,
that's kind of what she's thinking. Another scene in the movie really establishes that.
yeah, it does. That's what I wanted to know. What was her long game for this? Like, but
I
again,
think to wait a few years and then, like, a very slow seduction. The long game. She's not like your girlfriend. Julie is playing the long game with daddy. And like 1 year, like the skirts get a little more hyped up, but she's still sitting on his lap. I mean,
just
and then fucking Sybil Downing comes and fucking ruins all of her plans, the fucking home wrecking bitch.
her and her son Dennis.
Yeah, her werewolf Wells. But I again, this actress is really good, the one that plays Julie, because she does a lot of acting through her eyes, and you
Yeah.
can see that when she discovers that Sybil Downing's on the scene, she's pissed.
I like that line off Die Hard 3 and could be applied to Jen. Even God doesn't know what Jen is thinking. that's
Marty
that's
usually does.
I do, but I don't want to. That's the thing. It's like Jen's brain is like the Ark of the Covenant at the end of Raiders. Whoa! Oh, my face is melted.
You're getting used to it, though, darling. You're getting
I
used
am.
to it.
That's actually something that we'll address later on in the fucking scene. We'll address that later on in the scene. But so it for fuck's sake, it introduces Sybil Danning and
Her son.
Dennis, her son Dennis, and again, I wish they give us some lapse of time. Like it could have been a year, maybe, or a wee bit, like but it doesn't feel like it.
It does. I don't think it is because, and then the one line where Sybil Downing says, we should wait just for appearances. And again, I'm going to play like you do, Marty. Like, if this movie, and you never know, maybe the father did hire the teenage dirtbag bag boy to maybe not rape his wife, but kill her. I mean, this movie could have got into it. Doesn't do it that way, but these people are all kind of awful. I mean, you could almost turn this into another thing, and maybe him getting married, some cop would be like, something about this is a little fishy. You know what I mean, dude?
It could have been like that scene in that terrible Orphan sequel where Julie has to kill the cop who's investigating to cover up the fact she allowed it to happen. I don't know.
And then the mom comes in and she's like, and she tries to go back into character. Mommy, what are you doing here?
She kind of does that. She kind of does that near the end. But what was I going to say? So we're introduced to Sybil Danning and her son, and fucking the dipstick father thinks, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to be one big happy family. And Julie's not having
No. And this part of the movie brought a weird nostalgia. And I was asking Marty if they had any, because there's PSAs involved. And in the 80s, there was a big thing, at least in my neck of the woods, where teachers and parents were like, don't fucking play in fucking ice boxes if you find them in the dump. Kids don't play hide and seek. In fact, so many dumb kids died in it that it's a law now to take off the doors before you dump it, so this will never happen again. And stuff. And this scene, but it does leave a question, because again, I said this is a very upper middle class. Dad's a surgeon, for God's sake, and they live on this very kind of nice property, and there's just this random old ice box on the property. And again, it's much like how the mom dies. If you think about it too long, you're like, no, this would never be on their property. They're too snooty for this, but it works for the story. So again, we're not gonna this is what I know what you're thinking. Why you're thinking this is what she's nitpicking at a fucking icebox. Of all the things in this movie, Jen is focusing on an icebox.
Fucking Joey says that happened in my hometown. Jesus Christ. I'm going to say something here, and I'm probably going to lose about 20 subscribers. Who the fuck? Who lets their children? Where in America? Why?
This was the 80s, Marty, but like a lot of kids. And, I guess the movie does, like with the movie, playing hide and seek, and you think, oh, that's a great place to hide. And you think, oh, my friends will find me in time. And then, kids get distracted or whatever, they give up. And a lot of kids did die. And like I said, it's a law now where you take off the door before you discard one, just so that can never happen.
That's fucking super interesting and super bizarre. It's like, what?
Irish kids never thought of a discarded icebox.
No, in fairness, I can't bitch too much because there was a thing about kids climbing into the fucking tumble dryer. Like small children going, don't put your fucking pets or your younger siblings into the tumble dryer.
Whee! I can see how that might be alluring going around. It's like a merry-go-round, but enclosed.
And being burnt to death and rendered
If
unconscious.
you did low heat, you'd probably be okay, right?
It's okay. He's okay. And he's downy soft. He's downy soft.
Rapeably soft.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You remember that
I
robot?
know, robot chicken. Go clean yourself up. The teddy bear, go clean yourself up.
But see, this movie, that was it's weird of all movies that made me kind of think about my childhood, because it was a big thing, and like parents and teachers, they got on us and stuff, and like, don't ever fuck around. They made ice boxes seem way more dangerous.
Oh, Heavenly Creatures. Yeah, that's Peter Jackson's one of
That's
Peter
a great
Jackson's
movie.
first Hollywood movies.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that, DMC. Oh, it was in your hometown. Yeah, I know that movie. That's a movie that the Heavenly Creatures is a very underrated film.
Kate Winslet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a good movie, and it deals with madness. It's probably, people give me a weird look, it's probably my favorite Peter Jackson film.
It is. It's a cool movie. It's an interesting movie. And it's also sad because there's a moment where, like, you're once brought to the doctor, and the doctor goes, "I'm sorry, your daughter suffers from the mental disorder of homosexuality." She goes, "Oh, what did I do?" It's like, fuck it, no, that's horrible.
But I mean, even today, there's some parents that think, well, maybe if I'd hugged them too much or didn't hug them enough, maybe they would. I mean, it doesn't happen as much as it did back then.
No, but even at the time, considering homosexuality as a mental illness, that's a horrible fucking prospect.
It is. What did you think? But I explained the refrigerator scene without explaining the refrigerator scene. Basically, Julie is pissed, but again, I like her because she's smart, and she's thinking, okay, I'm not gonna this is gonna look sus. So she makes like she's best friends with this kid, and the father goes, "Oh, the kids are getting along so well. Let's go across and go into town for a few hours and let the kids play." And Julie lures the kid and says, "Let's play hide and seek." And she knows about this ice box there. And of course, the kid hides in the ice box, but he leaves the door open. But Julie comes and makes it where he can't get out, shuts the door on the kid and stuff. And just in the nick of time, Sybil Downing and the dad come and catch the kid enough time before he, suffocates and stuff. And I like the scene following it where Sybil Downing because Sybil Downing, and it makes sense, especially with the ending, but you can see Sybil Downing kind of figures out what's going on, or at least she's very, very suspect. She's very suspicious of Julie.
Like, they do a lead up to different stuff. Well, one thing I found very jarring, though, was they saved the son's life. And like this child is nearly suffocated, and Julie, in an effort to kind of change the subject from the child nearly dying, is like, "What were you going to say, Daddy?" "Oh, we got married when we were on the mainland." And Julie's like, but it's like maybe you should be focusing on the child that nearly suffocated.
Well, I don't know, Marty. If we announced we were getting married and some kid didn't die, I mean, I wouldn't want it to ruin my announcement. Hi, Strange Monkey.
Hey, Monkey.
You're coming in on. It's an incest film tonight. When isn't it an incest film when it's one of my picks?
It's Cara. It's up on YouTube for free. The whole thing is up on YouTube.
Yeah, you guys, I'd be interested to hear everybody's thoughts on it. But I liked. So you thought that's not the time to announce?
It was just a bit jarring. It was like, oh my God, thank God the child didn't die. Maybe we should take him to hospital. You're a doctor. Oh yeah. Maybe we should take him to. No, it's just like, oh, by the way, we're getting married. Fucking kid nearly suffocated, for fuck's sake.
Well, you wouldn't want to announce it to, I mean, if the kid lived, who cares? I mean, you don't know how long some women wait to get the question popped to them, darling.
But seriously, though, it's like if fucking Jake sustained a head injury and was unconscious, and like you'd want to take him to the doctor, right, rather than go, "Hey, me and Marty are tying the knot," right?
Did you propose that day?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I mean, the kid's fine. Okay. This is a once in a lifetime to show. Look, bitches, look. I got a ring on my finger. He's fine.
that's a pretty ring, but your child is unresponsive. Um,
Look, I'll flash the carrots in his eyes. That'll revive him.
what do you mean carrots? Hold on a minute. Okay. Fuck, I'm gonna be fucking broke. Shit. Anyway, but no, Sybil Danning goes in and asks him, "Hey, how did you close the door on yourself from the inside?" And he goes, "I didn't. It just closed on its own." And that's when Danning's like, "Yeah." And then there's a great scene because Sybil Danning, um, Julie's father says she's a chess player, and there's a great scene where you see the two of them discuss the situation while playing chess. And he goes, "Look, I know people can be very protective and do reckless and dangerous things, but mothers can be just as dangerous and reckless
Mm-hmm.
protecting their children." So it's
That's
a
a
cool
great
scene.
foreshadowing scene.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
really good
brilliant
one.
foreshadowing scene. But like again, Julie is clever because there's other moments as well. There's a scene where Sybil Danning is putting up pictures and she's on a stepladder on the stairs, and Julie isn't stupid enough to
Push
fucking
her.
just yeah,
She
she's
wants
clever
to,
than
but I like how it's shot because you can tell that's exactly what she wants
mm,
to do. But yeah. I'd also that scene always kind of it's different, but it kind of reminds me of The Omen in a weird way. The same kind
yeah.
of setup with the stair. I always think that's kind of it really is reminiscent of The Omen. Marty, we're coming up to one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I'll let you explain this one, and then I'll explain why the dynamic of our relationship has galvanized me to such scenes that I can just be like, eh.
Okay, kids. So I guess Julie has a thing for her daddy, and you're wondering, okay, guys, well, maybe it's subtext, maybe it's not that blatant, and this is where Marty, says that the movie can be very exploitative because you hear Julie and she's tossing and turning, almost like she's having a nightmare anyway, and she's woken up to the sounds of carnal passion, but vis-a-vis Sybil Downing and her beloved daddy. The one that her fucking bitch of a mother was going to keep her away from to send her to boarding school, that she let the rapist kill her because of that and the snake. And this fucking hussy, just werewolf hussy, just comes into her room, into the house, and steals her man that she had this long game of seduction for. She had it all planned out, and she was going to be the woman of the house and the man of his dream, the woman of his dreams, and just tailor made. And she would only sleep with daddy. And so she hears their carnal passions, right? And she goes to the door and she's watching them, and it's a very long and very explicit scene, and you hear and you see the boobs flopping, and you see, oh my darling, and everything else. And what in this scene, what it does is Sybil Downing's face morphs into Julie's face, and in Julie's mind, she's not seeing Sybil Downey get banged by her daddy. She's seeing herself get banged by daddy.
And I was just watching this and I'm like, eh, eh. It's just a case of I think I've just watched so much weird shit with Jen. Nothing knocks me for a loop. Like I suppose at the time, 83, this would have been real gonzo fucking exploitation kind of stuff. Like, oh my god, the daughter wants to fuck her dad, and
But I
she's
mean, I love
envisaging
the
it.
shot of. I mean, I'm not being. This is not hyperbole, guys. Her face is on Sybil, transplanted on Sybil Downing's, and it's. I don't know how they shot this. The actress must have been over 18 because I mean, you see her in bed with Daddy, and they're like bumping uglies, and I mean, it's a good erotic scene if it weren't for the fact it's his daughter in bed with him.
I was like, yeah, I wasn't shocked because again, the movie signposts this, but it's again, the movie's like, here's a little piece, here's a little piece, here's a little piece. Oh, here's the full fucking cake. I'm like, yeah.
Did it make you uncomfortable? And do you think that the movie did it need to go? Because I mean, it does go pretty far for a mainstream movie to have her. I mean, it's one thing if she'd just been watching from the doorway, but to have her face over Sybil Downing and see it like in that perspective, did you think it went too far? Honestly, or do you think it needed it?
I think I'm not joking, and I'm not doing this as taking the piss out of you. Or anything. Over the years and over some of the stuff we've watched, and the other stuff I've watched, I've like again French Extremity. I've watched other things, and eh, eh.
You disappoint me, darling. I thought that would be like, oh my God, Jen, for fuck's sake.
Jen, we watched a movie where a puppet fish gave a fucking blowjob to a man.
But at least they weren't related, Marty, that we know of.
Jen, there's very little left to watch that I haven't watched with you. That like we're going to be not watching Necromantic at some stage. And,
For
like,
my birthday, you promised.
Yeah, we will. Promise is a promise. But the fact remains, right, that no, I think the great thing about you and the mental thing about you is I've watched stuff that would make other people go, "What the fuck is this?" Or I'm like, here we go again. I'm fucking CJ. I'm CJ in Grand Theft Auto, fucking San Andreas. Oh shit! Here we go again.
But and you're wondering, and I think Marty was too. Well, then if we've gone to the incest part, or at least as much as we can for a mainstream film from 1983, what else is left? I'll let Marty take this.
So anyway, the movie decides to turn into a whole other fucking movie, turn into some kind of gonzo cop crime fucking dude on the lam kind of movie with our rapist. Just goes off on a completely
teenage rapist, Marty.
Teenage rapist. And he goes to some fucking greasy spoon fucking shithole of a bar, and he's at the counter and he's fucking brooding, he's drinking his beer, and there are these two working girls there, and they're like, oh, who's this tall glass of water right there?
Yeah, he's dreamy because they don't know he's a rapist, so he's dreamy. An attempted rapist.
Like an attempted rapist, But her friend goes, he doesn't look very friendly. It's the not so friendly ones I like. I'm like,
again, commentary really about the sexes and what we want. And we don't want
hold on a minute now. Okay, I would be and I'm not fucking shaming or anything. I'm actually going to reinforce it, right? I think a sex worker or a hard working girl like that would be like, yeah, I'm not picking a John that looks like he could fucking cut me up and put me in the fucking boot of his car.
That's kind of a boy next door face.
So did fucking Ted Bundy, but if you're in a bar, like women are just. For the most part, I think the women have a good instinct when it comes to men, and you can tell there may be trouble. And this fucking dude's just there with his denim jacket, and he's drinking beer, and he just wants to be left alone. He just wants to be left alone, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'll go up," and she sits next to him, and this is weird. It's like the hooker buys him a drink, and I'm like, this woman
and
is
she
in the.
Tells him if he doesn't have any money, it's on her.
Yeah, it's like, lady, you got into the wrong game. You're paying for your John's drink. You're offering him a free fucking lay, and he obviously looks like he is rightly so. He obviously looks like, oh, it's not like this guy raped and murdered some woman. So hey, I'll buy him a drink.
And I like, again, and he is so angry. And I love the next scene when she does take him to the bed and stuff, because he's having a little, Mr. Happy ain't feeling so happy, and he's having trouble performing.
He looks kind of, well, you know what? Jen, when you reach your 40s, that kind of thing is known to happen. Like, yeah, it's.
I wonder if he's I kind of wondered when I first watched this if he might have been a closeted homosexual, and that's why he hated women so much, because he couldn't perform and he couldn't even admit it to himself.
Okay, I just want to put this kind of disclosure here. We are not suggesting that closeted homosexuals hate women.
No, but you know what I mean. Maybe that's why he asked you, because he's like, you don't have mangina, you fucking bitch.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anywho, so yeah, he starts.
You get what I mean, right, Marty?
So surprise, the angry bag boy who can't get an erection, who attempted to rape and murder a woman, fucking flies off the handle with the prostitute. And,
because she ain't got no mangina.
I don't know. Give me a sec. Jesus Christ.
What's the matter, darling? What are you doing?
Hashtag Mangina 2024. Hey,
But no, I seriously think that
anyway, just so we know when people start using that fucking quote, we can claim copyright on us,
Well, I mean, Marty, if you like the old mangina and some hussy came up to you and you can't even make your willy work, you know what I mean? Because it's not the right kind of thing that you want to stick your dick in. Sometimes women have teeth down there, so I hear tell.
Jen, are you trying to subtly hint to me that you're a hermaphrodite or something? just to cushion the blow, literally.
No, but I think, again, this movie, I'm trying to be a professional, Dark. This movie, honestly, made me think that this character did have some issues with women and that he hated them and stuff. And then there's, I got that, and I really enjoyed that part of it.
What is a pussy? Jen, you should know. What is it?
Yeah, it's a lot like the other.
Is a pussy with balls? Okay.
It's something you can sink your lips around.
Anywho.
Anyway, but I mean, would you be pissed if some hussy came up to you?
Sorry, just Kara's comment. I'm now thinking of Gary Bussy. He's big Gary Bussy. Silver Bullet starring Gary Bussy. Oh fuck! Whoa! What? Oh fuck! Okay, fucking really too fucking easily we're too easily entertained. It's a silver bullet, Lamona. Gary Bussy's pussy is a silver bullet.
And mangina, by a weird way.
Hashtag Mangina 2024. So the fucking the teenage bag boy, I have to do that, teenage bag boy, starts glycerin the shit out of the actually fairly nice, fairly accommodating prostitute that bought him a drink and was giving him a free lay, and he decides to slap the shit out of her. And I'm like, dude.
But I mean, if you didn't if you liked mangina better than womangina, maybe you'd be pissed too.
I wouldn't slap the shit out of a woman because of it.
Even if you were an attempted rapist who murdered a
No. No, I would want to keep the fucking fuzz off me, which is the opposite effect of what happens in this movie.
Well, that doesn't matter what kind of gina you get. Whether you get the regular gina or mangina, you're going to get fuzz scraped across your balls.
Anywho, yes, the
Unless,
fuzz.
of course, you shave real good. But that's a pain in the ass. Do you know how much stubble it is? Like, it just grows, like, super quick. You cut it, and it's already got, like, a little, and it shaves you.
I just want to confirm that my girlfriend is not declaring her grooming practices on our fucking stream.
That reminds me, I need to get a new razor.
Can you continue on, please?
Oh yeah, right. He was unhappy because she ain't got no mangina, right? So like, but luckily for this prostitute, they're in a hotel, and her other friend hears her screaming, and she runs and yells out, and a dude busts the door, and a fight ensues. And again, like you said, getting back to being halfway serious, he wasn't too smart, because I mean, the other prostitutes in there, another dude that the prostitute was with, and then cops come down and they put a gun, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm fucked."
So he's brought in, and then the detective who was involved in Julie's mother's case is like, "Hey, we got the guy who might have killed your mother." So Julie and her father are brought in to do the lineup, and the lineup is done. And Julie's looking through the lineup, and she sees the guy, and the fuck, "Hey, creepy!"
Hi, creepy. You've missed some things, my friend.
Mangina and Gary Pussy.
And incest.
But she sees him in the lineup, and as Jen says, the cogs start turning in her head, and she starts to formulate the plan. What did you think about that?
I didn't think so much about this scene. The scene I really like is the scene that's, gee, I wonder who picked it. Why does everyone automatically assume it was me?
Because it's something you'd fucking pick. Anyway, go on.
I'm not a stereotype, guys. There is more to me than necrophilia and incest, damn it. I'm a three-dimensional person.
Jen, you just went on a 3.5-minute rant about mangina.
See? That's another facet that isn't incest or necrophilia.
That's a facet.
I don't mean the mangina has to be related to you.
That's a facet only a select few people want to be tackling. A very unique facet. Anyway, go on.
Getting to your question, what I find interesting, I think it's actually really smart, because I mean, and I think that again, as fantastical as this movie is, I do like that Julie is smart, but she's not super villain smart. But I could believe if someone's really smart at a 14, they could have come up with this, and you could see a plan formulating. But what I really like about it, because spoiler guys, is that that she makes up a plan and actually calls him, follows him, and finds and tells the cops, no, that's not who killed my mother, and stuff. Gets the cops off her back, tracks him down, follows him, and then gives him a very creepy serial killer fall, saying, you killed my mother, and I'm going to get the cops after you unless you kill my stepmother. And I love the expression on this actor's face, because remind you, he's a rapist, attempted rapist, and a murderer, and even he's like, Jesus, kid, you're fucked in the head. And I love the expression on this actor's face, like, fuck me.
Which monstrous person's reaction is better in a situation? Art, when your one wants to breastfeed him, or this guy when Julie wants him to kill the stepmother?
Probably Art, by just a cunt here, darling. And no offense to anyone who likes mangina, but that's a more popular expression. By a cunt here, Art wins. But this is a pretty damn good expression, and it always cracks me up, because he's like, this kid is fucked in the head. This kid needs fucking help. I mean, I mean, and it's funny. Like, if you step back away from it, it is funny, but the movie manages to make it fairly serious. It's only when you step back and think, hey, this kid not only let her mother almost get raped and murdered, but she also wants the guy that did it to off her stepmother so she can have daddy all to herself.
And
Fucking Sybil Downing.
she goes very fucking cold blooded because she meets him in a mall in public and she gives him the plan.
Which is smart, because I mean,
Yeah.
girls, because we didn't start learning that till like the late 90s and 2000s when, the dating sites, the dating websites came up and stuff. And that was one of the tips I remember they said, always meet in a public place. But back then, that wasn't I mean, I suppose some people have really good common sense might think that, but it wasn't something that was taught to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the thing is, she also wears a specific jacket and hat, which I think is very cold blooded. Later on, so she says, "Look, I'll tell you what. I have a letter. If anything happens to me, it gets sent to the cops. But if you kill my stepmother, I'll give you access to the safe. There's a bunch of jewels, money, whatever you want.
And
Just
I
keep
get
it."
my daddy. I get my daddy's jewels in between my legs and in my non-vagina.
She is incredibly clever as well because she plans on screwing this dude over as well. So what happens is she puts the plan into fucking motion and invites her friend over to study and
her annoying friend that she doesn't particularly like.
I think that was really fucking cruel. That was fucking cold blooded. So she's kind of susses out that your man is going to try and fucking off her because again he thinks, oh yeah, once I get the safe, she's going to leave the letter in the safe, so I can fucking do away with her and get away with this scot free. So Julie gives her friend her jacket and hat, and her friend goes walking out of her house after leaving the key that Julie said she was going to leave. So your man was obviously staking the place out and kills her friend thinking it's her. Again, that's when I lost all fucking kind of like, maybe she's just a bit fucked in the head. This is more of a...
It wasn't the scene where she was watching Sybil Downey and her daddy bang and she had her head over...
That's a mental health issue right there. This is fucking cold blood. This is tactical. This is Ernest Rommel level shit where she sets her friend up to be fucking murdered just so she can get an advantage over your man.
So what you're saying is murder's a bit worse than incest.
I did not fucking say that. I did not say that.
I think you did, darling.
I simply suggested that someone's fucked in the head sexual fucking passions or deviations isn't their own fault, whereas setting your friend up to be murdered is.
I never wanted to bang my daddy, and I'm pretty fucked up.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all.
But no, I get what you mean. But yeah, she is very clever. And I don't know that I would have thought, hell, I don't know if I would have thought something like that at my age now. And I sure as shit wouldn't have thought that at 14. In a weird way, who I wonder if the movie might have taken some things as hard candy.
Yeah, hard candy, because she's very tactical. She's incredibly tactical and she has a backup. But whereas Elliot Page in that movie is definitely a protagonist with a more virtuous agenda, this one is going to fucking get her friend killed, her stepmother killed, and fucking off the dude she's hiring to kill as well. So there's a lot more sinister kind of situations.
She's more not Patty Duke. She's more McCormick from The Bad Seed. She just wants what she wants, and whoever has to die, whatever she has to do to get what she wants, so be it.
What was that woman who murdered her kids and tried to make off that it was some
Susan Smith?
Yeah, there's a very fucking Susan Smith kind of fucking scenario playing out here as well.
I mean, but she's doing it for love. I mean, it's her father, but I guess I've known women who would kill for their men.
Don't look at me like that. This will be used in court someday. Jesus. So, anyway, do you
Long as
wanna
you never leave me, darling, everything will be fine.
Jesus Christ. That's a fucking mute. That sentence is the equivalent of mutual destruction via the nuclear kind of arms race. As long as no one fires the weapons, everyone's okay. Have you seen the movie based on SS?
You mean Susan Smith? I think there was a few. Is there anyone in particular? I've read a few books. I haven't seen any movies, but I have read. In fact, I read that her ex-husband, the one he wrote.
She killed him for financial reasons. Was that right?
No, she didn't kill him. She was in love with the rich. She lived in a real small town. It was a southern town, and she had problems with her husband. They were one of those couples that they were always off again, on again, fighting. And she fell in love with the richest guy in town, like he was, or the son of the richest guy in town and stuff. And the guy broke up with her and said, "It's because of your kids. Like, I really care about you, but and you don't even know if that was true, if that was just his way of letting her down easily." And so she got it in her head, and it came out that she might have been molested. Again, interesting parallels to this movie, although, you know, the father doesn't molest in this movie, but it says that her stepfather molested her when she was a kid, and the stepfather did cop to it and stuff. So, like, she did have somewhat of a damaged psychic with men and stuff like that. But she thought if these kids weren't in her life, she could get this guy and have an easy life, be on easy street.
It's Jesus. Like, Cara says the one with Farrah Fawcett. Is that Farrah Fawcett?
Yeah, I know I haven't seen it, but I'll definitely look on it. The only one I've seen with Farrah Fawcett is The Burning Bed, which is a damn good movie too.
So, Jen, do you want to run down how this movie ends? And
sure. It ends pretty. It ends exactly how you guys are thinking, except for the last bit of the ending. So everything kind of goes according to Julie's plan. The guy breaks in. He realizes that there's no safe. He's super pissed. Sybil Downing comes. Oh, he also kills her friend thinking it's her. And so that loose end is taken care of. Sybil Downing comes and sees the rapist murderer, and he kills her. And he says a line, and it's interesting. He goes, "Now I'm going to have to kill you just like your stepdaughter wanted." And he throws Sybil Downing out the window of this high two-story house, and it looks like she's broken and bleeding on the below. And Julie comes out with a gun, and she kills the would-be rapist. And then, but the thing is, and Julie's so smart, but I guess in the heat of the moment, you can just, one little misstep can fuck everything up. The doorbell rings, and she thinks, well, Sybil Downing's dead. It's Daddy. But even I was like, Daddy wouldn't ring the doorbell to his own house. But she runs down the stairs, and it's Sybil Downing with a knife, and it's actually Sybil Downing that kills Julie. And by the end of the movie, Julie's daddy comes home and stuff with Julia in the Sybil Downing's arms, and she goes, "She saved my life," which I guess is noble, that, you know, she's at least covering up the pain that her daughter was, you know, a psychopath that wanted to sleep with him. I mean, it's better to think your kid died a hero than, you know, a incestuous whore.
Here's the problem, though. Sybil Danning's going to jail because Julie blew that guy away with a shotgun up in the second floor, up in the second story.
It's 1983. Forensics isn't good. If I was Sybil Downing, I would have been like that. With her last dying breath, she pointed the gun after he stabbed her. You could weave. Now, nowadays, you probably couldn't get away with it, but it's 1983, Marty. Forensics was not what it is today. Like, and she's smart. Sybil Downing is kind of Julie's, like, she's not as, but, you know, she has kind of a little bit of Julie in her and stuff, and she's just as smart. So I imagine she could whip up something where you know, where it would keep with her story and still be believable to the cops. And you got to think the cops aren't looking at it that hard anyway. The guy came back to finish off this family. He had a vendetta against this family, so that works in her favor too.
Okay, if you say so. Also, the dude was such a fucking idiot. He was like, I'm gonna kill you after I have my way with you. And he pulls out his dick and he gets a fucking.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that part. Julie also takes the wine bottle, a broken wine bottle, and it's very poetic, and like slices his junk and his dick, and he goes and he grabs his thing, and it's comic, but for what it is, it's pretty good, and I like the fact that he was gonna try and rape Julie. I mean, I'm never pro rape, but I'm like, yeah, movie, right on. How could you forget that part? I know I'm slipping. It's been a crazy week, creepy. That's beautiful. The audience enjoys it. Our chat seems to be enjoying it.
Look. He deserved it. The irony is he pulled out his dick that he probably couldn't get hard anyway to get fucking stabbed by a wine bottle. It's pathetic. Imagine he finally gets an erection only to have it. Oh my god, it worked.
Where did it go? Marty, did you see it come? Because there was a few things that surprised me, but you didn't see Sybil Downing being a murderer, did you? You thought she was just going to be dead?
No. I didn't. Like, is she in the run for doing it?
No, because Julie, you can have sympathy for Julie. She's obviously a fucked up little cookie, but on the other hand, she basically put down a rabid dog. Like, as long as she was breathing, anyone who came between her and her father was going to be in danger and stuff. And she didn't want to leave the dad, and she had a little boy to think about. So, and she did it, and she, in a weird way, she did do a kindness to. I also like that little bit of writing. She does do a kindness to the father because, to me, I'm always a person like, if it's going to hurt someone and they don't absolutely need to know it, why rub it in their face? And the dad might have not been the best dad, but he probably did love her. He doesn't need the shit in his head to think his daughter was a psychopath. Like, so
it was nice. Basically Sybil Dannon says, "Oh, she died protecting me," and it's like, okay. Although I like, again, I'm fucking disgusted. Nearly killing the little boy, that was fucked, and then getting her friend killed just to fucking execute her plan. That was kind of shitty. Like,
and wanting to bang daddy.
And you know what's to all blame for this?
What?
Someone fucking get in the wrong order of Pepsi. This could have all been avoided.
If someone just Diet Pepsi. And this movie is fun, and it's one that not a lot of people talk about, and I kind of am glad that at least a few people in the chat said they might check it out, because it's not, is it perfect? No, but and again, I think there's some really strong writing here that if this movie was as schlocky as some people might have you think, there's some really strong points to this movie, and it was, like I said, shallowly deep or deeply shallow, one of the two.
It's got its good parts and it's got its bad parts. It's one of these weird movies where you're like, I can't tell if this is really slow or moving at a pace that I can't really kind of make out what's happening with the plot. Like,
I think there's a few places they could have done a little bit of editing and tightened it up a bit. I think there are a few places that they could have cut the runtime a bit.
I do like the poster. I do.
Yeah, again, that's one of the reasons, because I thought, are we going to visit Hill people because she's got a shotgun, and it makes sense when you see the movie why she has that shotgun. But I'm like, are we going to have more of a hillbilly kind of feel to it? And again, that gun is phallic, Marty.
Again with fucking phallic stuff. At least you're not going on about a needle. Jesus Christ.
And it's the lesbian, because it's her mom. Again, we could go to some places with just that poster alone.
I gotta give praise to Isabelle Meges. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that nice. Damn right, French Canadian. This was a German Canadian co-production, and I kind of sussed that out because some of it was shot in Germany and it was exclusively European stores in the street, and I'm like, what the? There's a Curry's? That's a fucking European electrical store. What the fuck? So I was like, I was a bit confused, and I had to look it up. The soundtrack is a bit weird as well.
Yes, it is. It's kind of fun.
It's a Carnosaur, dude.
Hello.
It's it's a bit on the weird side though, because you've got kind of classical music, and then you've got stuff that sounds like it wouldn't be out of place in an episode of Starsky and Hutch. It's just
Solid 70s gold. It's a fun soundtrack. Again, this movie is a little strange and unusual, so why not the soundtrack be the same way?
yeah, definitely check this out. It is not a trash fire.
No,
Again, it's not Suspiria, and it's not Dressed to Kill.
but it's
It's
also kind of has some of those
Yeah,
sensibilities.
yeah, it does. It isn't as kind of grotty as say the likes of New York Ripper or anything like that.
Ducks.
Um,
Quack,
yeah,
quack.
but it does do some ballsy stuff for the time. So definitely check it out. It's
It
on you.
loses its balls at the end, though, darling. Literally, with a wine bottle.
Oh, it does. I would say John Carpenter's the Tin Carnotaurus dude, but that's just me. But what was I going to say? Yeah, no. Would you pick this up on Blu-ray if it was a special edition?
Yeah, just because I like to see, I love these movies where you find something and it really surprises you. And is this Shakespeare? Sure, no, it's not. But it really kept me entertained. And like I said, this is a movie that's really fun to look through as a modern lens, because I'm sure the movie didn't intend for me to see some of these things, but looking through it as a modern lens, you can see some themes and stuff. And like I said, it's weirdly deep. So
Um,
yeah, I would pick this one up. I really love this one, and like I said, hardly no one ever talks about it. I just found it on a list and thought that sounds like an intriguing title. And what
what
I'll
was the
do is I'll
list? What was the list from, Jen?
it was I am someone who loves to look at all high and low on the internet. I couldn't tell you what the list was. I just go through people's list of and they'll have movies and stuff. And if a premise or a title or a poster looks interesting to me, I'll give it a chance, and I'll either keep watching it or turn it off. And a lot of them are duds, but once in a while you find movies like this. And to me, this is an undiscovered gem.
It
Backtrack
is.
does have a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
The Drovers, which also was in the Blink soundtrack as well,
and Demon Knight has a great soundtrack.
and also the first Transformers. You're right.
Yeah. Um, trying to think. Yeah, I like this. Again, it's if someone asked, "Hey, I want to get into Giallo, but I don't want anything too extreme, or I don't want anything too avant-garde." This might be a good kind of fucking kind of.
Gateway.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
The only thing is, do you think? I mean, Marty, you have been a little bit desensitized by me. Do you think some people might find this a bit shocking? That are
Jesus, I don't know. I can't tell anymore. I can't fucking tell anymore.
But yeah, I think it would be a good gateway. And if you wanted to get something that was Giallo without necessarily being, hey, Ginger
Hey,
Ninja.
Ninja.
I think if you wanted to put your foot into Giallo, you definitely would. Hello.
Hey, Dana Earl. How you doing?
DMC says he agrees with you about Alien Romulus for the most part.
Guys, I'm thinking of doing a spoiler review on it at some stage on Romulus. I'll get into that on what I really like and what I don't really like. But yeah, no, I'll do that at some stage. I just wanted, I wanted to try and fucking let everyone else's opinion fucking filter out before I give my 2 cents. But yeah, again, this is definitely worth checking out. It's on YouTube, so it's not going to fucking break the bank.
And I think it's a fun one. I think it'd be a fun date movie.
Yeah, it only runs about an hour and a half, literally an hour and a half long. So it's not going to consume your time too much.
And it's fun. It's fun. Like it is kind of a fun movie.
Which Alien Romulus, I didn't. This movie, Alien Romulus, I like it for the most part, and the reason I really like it is because the reason I have issues with it is because I really like it, but the stuff that doesn't work is kind of highlighted even more by the stuff that is fantastic. It's one of those movies. It's like if it was only a meh movie, I wouldn't be so bugged about it, but it does so many things fantastically. When it does go off the rails, it's more obvious that it could have been a lot better. But I'll get to that at some stage. But yeah, fucking that was Julie Darling. I enjoyed it.
I did
Worth
too.
checking out. I'm glad Jen recommended it to me.
You're
Uh,
really glad about this?
yeah, again, it didn't in comparison to some of the fucking shit you've showed me.
I'm gonna have to go. Well, we still have to. We owe DMC Butt Boy.
We do. We owe GMC Butt Boy. We'll do Butt Boy at some stage. Um, we've a couple other fucking things to watch. What's next up for you, babe?
Um, guys, and I know I haven't put anything up since my Crow review. Life's been a little crazy, but hopefully my life is going to be getting back. I know I've said this so many times these past 2 years, but hopefully things are going to settle down. And then there will be there's a lot of makeup movies that I wanted. I definitely am going to want to be talking about Strange Darling. There will be a review on that. Cuckoo. There's a lot of movies out that I really want to talk about. And Marty and I, sadly, we didn't get to go see it together, but we kind of did. We both saw Beetlejuice yesterday, and I think Marty and I might be talking about it in the very near future, maybe doing a review together on it.
Yeah, so we'll keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm going to be doing a review on Batman the Cape Crusader with Joey from the Mad Bloods because the man is an absolute fucking.
Awesome.
He's a legend, but he's also a scholar when it comes to Batman, and this stuff is absolutely fucking.
I'm a scholar.
You are a scholar of all things perverted, but when it comes to Batman, Joey is a scholar. Speaking of people in the chat, also two people I want to highlight. Cara from Horror Retrospective done some cool watch-alongs that you could. 1 second. That you could check out. Be sure to check out Cara's watch-alongs. And Lamona was live as well. Go check out Lamona's channel. She done a really cool live stream chatting to people. So definitely fucking check out both Lamona and Cara and Ninja as well. Ninja was fucking live a couple of times. There's some
Marty,
great people.
We need to do the Greasy Strangler. Maybe that can be one of our ones for October. I fucking love the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
it's like Tarzan in a cum jungle.
Jesus Christ.
I love that line.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Lamona, you're more than welcome. You do fucking cool content, and we'd actually like to have you on the fucking, because I know you're a big Terrifier fan, and you have very low kind of a low bar when it comes to worrying about what to say about horror movies. So you and Jen probably get on like a house on fire. Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say creepy. We are going to do Necromantic. It will be in October because that is going to be my birthday movie. And my birthday happens to be at the end of October. So the Necromantic will be at the end of October because that's what Marty promised for my birthday.
Yeah, no, I'm going to watch it.
Corpse sex for my birthday. That's what my boyfriend's getting me for my birthday. Corpse sex. He's so romantic.
So necromantic. Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, before we go, we just want to thank everyone who stopped off into the chat. Lamona, one.
We go together like a corpse with a rotted penis and a piece of lead pipe to replace said rotted penis.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. Lamona, DMC, Ginger Ninja, Creepy McGee, Cara from Horror Retrospective, Dana Earl, Larry, JP, Carnotaurus Dude. Am I missing anyone? I think I got them all.
I think you got them all with me. Dress to Kill is a great movie.
Dress to Kill is awesome. But yeah, no, fucking definitely check out Kara's channel. Definitely check out Lamona's channel, Ninja's channel, Larry's channel. I think Larry's going to be back soon enough. And myself and Joey are going to be doing a Batman Cape Crusader stream because there's a load of nods to Golden Age Batman in that series, and it's Bruce Timm. But yeah, babe, is there anything else that you want to announce? Any other movies or anything, or is that it?
No, just that my boyfriend's so romantic. He's giving me corpse sex for my birthday.
Oh,
I'm such a lucky girl.
One other thing as well as watching Necromantic for Jen's birthday. For Halloween, if anyone wants to join us, Jen, tell them what we're not going to be watching it Halloween night. We're going to be watching it the Sunday, our usual Sunday time. Tell the folks what we're going to be doing a watch-along of.
We are going to be, because I am a big fan, and I know most of you guys are, of the first Trashfire movie, because that's I have problems with the second. I still like the second, but I have problems. But I think the Trashfire is a favorite movie of mine. Like, that would be in the top 10 or 15 of my favorite horror movies. I fucking love that clown. And it's not just the one scene everyone knows about with the hacksaw. That's a great scene. But I also love the breastfeeding clown, the homeless woman breastfeeding her clown.
But yeah, we're going to be doing a watch-along on Sunday. Let me just do a double check. Because it's not Halloween per se. But it is going to be Sunday, the 27th of October.
And it's going to be a good time, guys. It's going to be a really good time. Like I said, and maybe I'm probably not going to flop my boobs out, but I'll try to simulate breastfeeding to a clown. Marty can dress up as a clown, and I can dress up as a homeless woman.
Did you see the little icon Dana put for?
Yeah, the V. That's beautiful. I love that.
But yeah, we'll be watching the first Trashfire movie for Sunday the 27th. If anyone wants to join us, they can, and we'll
I'm
watch.
Gonna dress up.
She's yeah, I'm really fucking worried about that because she isn't telling me what she's dressing up as.
Something sexy.
You can't breastfeed a clown on the stream.
But I have an idea.
No, you're not breastfeeding the fucking clown on the stream.
Yeah, I don't hate Trashfire 2, Ginger Ninja. It does have the runtime is a big one for me. I wish, as much as I enjoyed a lot of it, I wish we would have cut it down a bit. Now, it does have a fantastic soundtrack. That has a fucking Trashfire 2 has a fucking fantastic soundtrack.
I have my issues with Trashfire 2. Again, that.
Yeah, I agree. It is the most natural thing. Why are you shaming breastfeeding the homicidal clowns, Marty?
Jesus Christ. Anywho.
I found my people, Marty, and you found my people.
You can keep your fucking people, okay?
These are all your subscribers, darling.
I'm joking, kind of.
Yeah, I was thinking, actually, you're not too far off with what I was thinking about Ginger Ninja. I can get one of those ones at the Dollar Tree, yeah. I did too. I enjoyed it. But there was some things. I loved the little girl. I loved the pale girl. That was one of my favorite things about the movie.
What was the name of our heroine in that movie?
Oh, an S. I can't think. God damn it. It'll come to me.
I'm still creeped out by the costume her dad made. It's like, Daddy wanted a bad touch, his daughter. Daddy wanted a reverse Julia Darling, his daughter, with that costume.
Think about it. If Julia had that, the father in Trashfire, Sierra, thank you. Then it would have been perfect. There wouldn't have been any problems.
Jeez, no, Jen, there would have been a whole other new host of fucking problems. Okay, so yeah, we're going to leave it like that. But yeah, Sunday the 27th, guys. Sunday the 27th, we're going to be doing a watch-along of Terrifier, and we'd love if you join us. So, with that, I think we're going to sign off here. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I just think that my boyfriend's the most romantic guy in the world for giving me corpse sex. And hashtag Mangina.
Don't forget the date.
2024.
There we go. Now, right. With that, let's get the fuck out of here. Thanks
you
again.
have a lovely mangina. I mean, if you're gay, if you're not gay, do you still have a mangina, or is it just like...
I don't fucking know, Jen. I've not encountered her. Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. Right. Right, we're leaving. Have a lovely evening, guys. Thanks a million for stopping in.
Forever. Marty has a beautiful mangina.
I love you, but you're gonna drive me to my fucking grave. And then probably fuck my corpse. Right. Have a nice evening, guys. Bye.
For when I get really old.